Someone posted on a corporate subreddit forum recently. The question was simple and pointed: who is actually an expert on AI enough to list it as a skill on their CV? And if you are, where did you get the time? I've been thinking about that post ever since. Not because the answer is complicated, because the answer is obvious and nobody in the corporate world is quite saying it out loud. The people with the most developed AI fluency right now are mostly not the people whose CVs say they have it. And the people whose CVs say they have it mostly got the credential through a process that has very little to do with the fluency. For anyone new here, quick intro. I'm Aimee, 42, Sydney lawyer, building a suite of AI-powered YouTube channels, trying to exit my 9-to-5 by February 2027, documenting the whole thing in public. I have a channel called Renaissance because I believe AI will bring in a new renaissance for humanity. My voice isn't my actual voice. Australian. Still looking. Let's start with what AI expertise actually is from the inside. It's not course completion. There is no course you take and then know. The Microsoft AI Fundamentals Certificate tells you that AI exists and how to describe it in a meeting. It doesn't build the instincts. It's not product knowledge. Knowing that Claude has a context window, or that ChatGPT has web browsing, or that Gemini integrates with Google Workspace, this is useful background. It's not expertise. It's not prompt collection. The person with 200 saved prompts and the person who has never seen a prompt before are closer in actual capability than the prompt collector thinks. The prompts are responses to specific situations. The expertise is the judgment that generates the response. What AI expertise actually is, a mental model of how these tools process information, built through months of daily use across a range of tasks, that lets you see the use case before you know what the prompt is. The instinct that recognizes a dense email as an infographic candidate. The judgment that knows when Claude's output is close and when it's structurally wrong. The skill of briefing rather than commanding. That is not acquired in a workshop. Where it is acquired, and this is the part the corporate world is dancing around. In the margins. In the hours the institution isn't watching. The people I know with the most developed AI fluency developed it at 5 in the morning before the corporate day started, or in the evenings after the meetings ended, or over weekends when nobody was requiring anything of them. They ran experiments on their own time, with their own subscriptions, because they were curious and because they could see what the tools could do and they wanted to understand it better. The company did not fund this. The company did not create the space for it. In most cases, the company didn't even know it was happening. And now the company wants to know who has AI skills. And the people putting their hands up are, in many cases, the people who attended the AI workshop the company organized, got the certificate the company paid for, and listed the resulting credential on the internal skills register. That credential and the actual fluency are different things. The corporate world has not yet developed a reliable way to distinguish between them. The credentialing problem and why it matters more than it might seem. Organizations are making decisions right now about who to involve in AI strategy, who to send to the working group, who to promote into the new AI-adjacent roles that are appearing in org charts. These decisions are being made partly on the basis of self-reported AI skills and institutional credentials. In a domain where the credential system is underdeveloped and the actual skills are almost impossible to assess in a performance review, you get a predictable outcome. The people who are good at credentialing get the roles. The people who are good at the thing may or may not be visible. I know lawyers, accountants, and professionals in all kinds of corporate roles who have been building significant AI fluency in the margins for 12 to 18 months. They've quietly transformed their own workflows. They're producing work in a third of the time. They understand the tools at a level that a 2-day workshop cannot produce. Most of them have not put this on their CV. Some because they're modest. Some because they're not sure how to describe it. Some because they work in environments where using AI tools is culturally ambiguous, neither explicitly encouraged nor explicitly prohibited, and visibility feels like a risk. The cultural ambiguity is worth naming. In many professional environments, AI use exists in a strange, undefined zone. The organization hasn't issued a formal policy. There's no guidance on what's appropriate in client work and what isn't. The partners or senior leaders have heard of it, but haven't engaged with it seriously. There's a general sense that it's probably happening, but nobody is quite saying so. In that environment, the person who uses AI extensively and is open about it is taking a visibility risk. Depending on the culture, they might be seen as innovative or they might be seen as cutting corners. Without clear cultural signals, most people default to keeping it quiet, which means the AI fluency that exists in many organizations is invisible. And the AI fluency that's being rewarded is the kind that went through the official channel, the workshop, the certificate, the declared skill. The Reddit poster's question, "Where did you get the time?" is really asking, who actually did the work? And the answer is, a lot of people did, and you mostly don't know who they are, because the work happened in time the organization doesn't see. The time question is the most revealing part of this. If you work a standard corporate day, you have limited hours in which to develop any skill that the job isn't actively demanding. The people who developed deep AI fluency before AI became officially important did it by making a choice about where their discretionary time went. They chose to spend their early mornings or their evenings or their weekends learning these tools, not because their employer required it, but because they could see what was coming and they wanted to be ready for it. That's a specific kind of person. Not necessarily more talented. Not necessarily smarter. More willing to invest in something before it becomes obviously necessary. More curious. More comfortable with the early stage where everything is rough and nothing works cleanly and the gap between what you can see the tool could do and what you can actually make it do is large and sometimes frustrating. That gap is where the fluency lives, and you only develop it by sitting in it repeatedly until the gap narrows. The person who completed a formal AI course has done something useful. They have a structured overview of the landscape. They can speak coherently about the technology in a meeting. They understand the basic categories of application. They've demonstrated the willingness to engage with the topic at an institutional level. In organizations that are just beginning to take AI seriously, having people who can credibly introduce the topic into strategic conversations is valuable. But it's a different thing from fluency. And the organizations that conflate the two, that assume the person with the AI certificate is the organization's AI resource, will find that their AI strategy is being led by the people who are good at acquiring credentials rather than the people who are good at the work. This is not a new problem. Every time a new domain emerges, the credentialing system lags the actual expertise by several years. The people who actually know what's happening are the ones who were there before the credentials existed. The deeper question underneath all of this, and this is where the World Walker conversation intersects with the AI expertise question. The person who develops significant AI fluency in the margins of their corporate career is, almost by definition, a World Walker. They were in the corporate day and also in the build. They were learning the tools in the time the institution wasn't watching. And now the institution wants to know who has the skills. And the World Walker has to decide whether to make the second world visible in the first. That's not a straightforward decision. In some environments, being the person who has been quietly building AI capability for a year is a significant career asset. In others, the question of where you found the time to do that is implicitly uncomfortable because the time you used was presumably time that wasn't being fully extracted by the employer. The person who used their lunch hours to build AI fluency was technically using their own time. But the implicit cultural assumption in many workplaces is that discretionary time belongs to the employer too. Showing up with a skill you developed in that time can land differently depending on the culture. What I think a better assessment of AI expertise would look like, if organizations were actually trying to find it. Not a certificate, not a self-declaration, a conversation. Ask someone to show you what they did last week with AI, not what they know about it, what they actually did, what the input was, what the output was, what they had to add to make it useful, what didn't work and why. The person with actual fluency will have an answer immediately. They have specifics. They'll be able to talk about the gap between the first output and the final output and what happened in between. They'll have an opinion about what Claude does well and what it doesn't, because they've used it enough to have opinions. The person with a credential and limited use will speak in generalities. They'll describe capabilities rather than actual sessions. They'll be accurate, but abstract. That distinction is findable in a conversation. It's not findable in a skills register. The implication for anyone in a corporate role who has developed real AI fluency and is trying to work out how to use it. You have something that's harder to acquire than it looks from the outside. The credential is easy to get. The fluency is not. And the organizations that are going to navigate the next few years well are the ones that figure out the difference. And the people who are going to be most valuable are the ones who actually have it. The question of whether to make it visible is situational. In an environment that's ready for it, the person who can demonstrate actual working AI fluency, not just the credential, but the thing itself, is in a strong position. In an environment that isn't, the calculation is different. But the fluency itself is worth having regardless of whether the environment is ready to recognize it. Because the transition is coming whether the credentialing system has caught up or not. Back to the Reddit post. Who is an AI expert, and where did they get the time? The honest answer? They made it. In the margins. Before it was required. Before it was rewarded. Because they could see what was coming, and they wanted to be inside it, rather than watching it arrive from the outside. That's the World Walker answer. The corporate world is now asking a question that the World Walkers have already answered. Not in a meeting, not in a workshop, not on a CV. In the 5 a.m. sessions, and the lunch hours, and the evenings, and the weekends. With their own subscriptions and their own curiosity, and their own willingness to sit in the gap between what they could see the tools could do and what they could actually make them do. The credential comes after. The fluency came first. I'm Aimee. This is Renaissance. Now, go play.